Welcome to Connecting the Dots with KG. I'm KG. Nice to meet you. I'm a local community advocate here in Itlakwe, also known as Fort McMurray, and I've lived in this region for about 13 years now. In my time here, I've gone through high school, went to university, all the way across the pond in the UK, and now I'm back, and I've been with my community once again for the past two and a half years. In that time, I've learned quite a lot, and I've been able to rediscover and uncover the connected nature that each of us share as humans. And being a community advocate, someone who seeks out actively ways in order for us to connect as people, I've been blessed to come across a myriad of people whose skills and expertise and life experiences have also shown them similar ways. And this podcast, Connecting the Dots, is meant to connect you with people like that. And hopefully you can learn from our conversations something new. Hopefully we can deconstruct the way we think we're supposed to be living and communing with one another, and walk together on a path where we deepen our understanding and our awareness of how connected we are. So, as someone who's lived in the region for 13 years, I've seen many changes happen, and I've witnessed a lot of great shifts in the consciousness of people here. I'm a Pisces, so I'm very deeply connected to energies and people's ways of being, and that's always made me interested to understand this world. Back in high school is when I first kind of discovered the world of social justice. You could describe me as a social justice warrior if you wanted to, and you wouldn't be wrong. But that was the first time that I really understood that, oh, even me in my small corner of the earth has the ability to fundraise to build a clean water well so that women and kids don't have to walk miles and miles to go get clean water, or help build a school or a room in a school. We have the power to be connected to people that we've never seen before, never talked to. And obviously going to university and studying law, it taught me even more critically how to explore and understand those connected things. And so I want this to be a space where we can learn together and continue growing in our understanding of one another. I want to use this podcast to have insightful conversations with people whose work I admire, the people who understand the value of creating a ripple effect. I want to talk to creative humans, authentic humans, and those who desire a connection with more than what they can see right in front of them. We rediscover so much about the truth, and the truth is that we are not disconnected. We're not on our own. We're moving in synergy with the systems that govern us. And some of us have this understanding, and we use this understanding to disrupt spaces where that synergy has created cycles of harm that have been repeated for generations in our society. And those are the people that I'll be talking to. So if that sounds interesting to you, if that sounds like something that you care for, tune in as often as this happens, and come along this journey with us. The reason that I think a podcast like this is so important is because we are currently doing the opposite of what we should be doing, which is working disconnected from each other. We're working in silos, and we're fracturing our human nature, despite nature itself reminding us again and again that we're not separate from each other, we're not separate from the mother, and moreover, our human problems are far more linked than we think. And solutions exist if we're only brave enough to put our islands together and think as one, united. So I've been lucky to exist in many different worlds. I've worked on site, I've worked in Foot Locker for many years, built out my shoe closet from that job, and it was bliss. I've worked in schools, I've been part of student unions, been the captain of basketball teams, and I've seen similarities across the board with how humans behave and how humans interact, and similar understandings of how the world is perceived to be. And I've always found a way to stretch the imagination of people. I've always found a way to break down the boxes and the compartmentalization that we do inevitably within our groups, within our personal lives, within our own repeated notions that we give to ourselves. I've lived in 1, 2, 3 countries, visited countless more, and I've really seen the consistencies in the problems that we're facing and consistencies in the solutions that are necessary in order for us to usher in this new world that we're all so desperately vying for. As someone who's a community advocate, I'm always trying to think of what is next, what comes after this moment of tension is finished. Once we're able to release, once revolution is able to come about and then the dust settles, what happens next? How do we think past these current motions or these current ideas of the now and seeing the big boulder in front of us? How do we look past that? And for me personally, it's been a struggle to get there, but now that I'm here, it's exciting to imagine what the world could be should we kind of reconnect and rekindle that fire that blazes the connection that we have as people. In my travels, I've met some amazing people. I've met some people who have explained to me their ideas for how they understand the world, and people who have the ability to read things that connect governance structures to spirituality, to the material world, to so many various things. And I think it's just so interesting to let people talk and hear their stories and understand them. I describe myself as an introverted extrovert, an extroverted introvert, an introvert that cannot help but be jovial. I'm Nigerian, that's just how we are. My mom is a jovial individual. She cannot help but be the center of attention, and she draws that in. And so just in order to survive, I've had to put on a persona that invites people in, that welcomes people, and that has brought a lot of interesting people my way. And because I'm an introvert, I always seem to give people the space to say exactly what it is that they want to say in ways that they might not have thought about things before. Like I said, being a Pisces, the way in which our energies sync up, I really feel that I'm able to create a space where people are encouraged to stand in their different thoughts and share those thoughts that are not necessarily the mainstream with me. And I think that our community could use a lot more of that, a lot more of different thought, a lot more discussion, a lot more critique about what we assume to be correct here in our town. And I feel so grateful to know so many people who will go out of their way to support me in my anti-racism work, in my community advocacy. And I want to do the same and shine a light on what it is that I've learned from them, and hopefully pick up something new along the way. Whew, the scarf is getting to me, but we're gonna make our way through this first episode, and I'm very excited to do so. And so when we're thinking about drawing connections, or when we're thinking about what it means to build a community, I think that it's really important that we remember that we want to do this. We crave community, and it is a natural inclination. And so we shouldn't stop ourselves from putting ourselves out there or trying something new. As someone who is quite extreme in their views and quite direct about the things that they want to see done, I've found it only creates more opportunity for me. And when I use language, when I'm able to tell stories and help people see those connections, I feel like they get empowered, and I feel like they deepen their understanding and their notion of, maybe I can do something about this. Maybe this global tragedy that's happening hundreds of thousands of kilometers away from me, maybe I have the ability to ensure that that person is able to still talk to their family by buying an eSIM, or provide food for them when they're, going through hunger and things like that. And so I feel like being one of the most multicultural place in so-called Canada, being the largest municipality in these lands, having so much in one place concentrated, really is like having a microscope on the broader nation that we are in. And so being able to explore what is happening here and how does that tie into what's happening in Manitoba, in Ontario, in the States, in Europe, in the Middle East, in Africa. What are those dots that we cannot see? What are those dots that we might be peripherally aware of? and how can we have fun conversations exploring those connections. Like if you're a basketball coach that is coaching a girls team here, but you come from somewhere else, you know, what ways are you incorporating your culture, and what ways are you incorporating the issues that you're seeing into what you're telling your kids, because you bring something different to the table, and the reason why you bring something different to the table is what I want to find out when I'm talking to you. And so I really hope that people enjoy what it is we're saying. I hope that people are able to find a way to give us the benefit of the doubt if you hear something that you're not necessarily in agreement with or in alignment with. I was talking to someone earlier today, and they were really in a very distinct way explaining something about the powerlessness we feel as people and why it is so. And like going as far back as giving me like the original Greek translation, giving me the Latin translation, telling me that if you really want to find out the root of the word, you have to go to like its origins. Like what was that word in the 14th century, in the 13th century, in order to really know what is true. And then I was just like very mind blown, because I feel like we don't even have the time to do things like that anymore, because we're all so busy. But when you really take the time to say, what was before this, what came before this, what came before this, and then you get to the root, and then you can see like, okay, that makes sense for this word, that makes sense for this concept and this idea and this ideology. You're even more grounded in the thing that you thought you were grounded in before. It's even more deep once you understand that connection and you can trace those things. Same thing with like finding out your ancestry if you are not connected to it right now. And you can see that family tree and you can see your lineage. Does it not make you feel like, oh, like I want to know those stories, or I want to understand X, Y, and Z more? I really think that it does, at least for me. Maybe I'm just a nerd who like really just enjoys like following the trails and going here and there and helter skelter, but I've always been that way. Like since I realized that like we have access to so much and we have the ability to impact things over there that we've been told that we can't impact, I've kind of just like been trying to convince everyone, hey guys, did you know that we actually have the power to create change? Did you know that if we like take the time to like come together and understand what it is we're doing here and how that can impact positively over there, or how we can change a policy that will forever keep something in place? You know, like I just want people to feel empowered with the idea of knowing more about the world around them. And that's, yeah, it makes me happy. Like I can't even stop smiling. Like I'm just so excited to go on this journey and explore more and learn more. I'm playing around with what the titles might be, if I'm gonna do titles or if I'm not gonna do titles. But the first two, I think I'm gonna go, my first point, get it? Dot. And another thing, second dot. And then we'll figure it out from there. But yeah, I think I'm quite pleased to be on this journey. I'm grateful for all the support. We're here, you know, in a local business here in town, a local business that is working to break down silos as well and support as many points on the gram as she can. And so, yeah, I'm really happy to be in this space and to hold space for others. And yeah, I just want this to be a chance for some discussion to flow and to see where my ADHD brain takes things and picks up on stuff. It's wonderful. And, you know, I'm very varied in my own interests as well. I have a lot of creative outlets. I do some spoken word. I do write music. I am very inspired by the quote that says an artist's role in the revolution is to make it look irresistible. And so how can I use my art to speak to a greater message, to pull people into action, to spark something in them that will gnaw at them until they're walking in what they know is right. I feel like a lot of the things that we struggle with today could be easily fixed if people just did what they know was right and stood on their principles and just said, I know X plus Y equals Z, so I'm going to do X plus Y equals Z and find and get that result every single time and cultivate equity in our society and not create division where there doesn't need to be division, or to not pretend that our interests are explicitly like separate from one another, when at the end of the day, we all just want to live healthy lives and have our futures be secure in one way or another. And so I don't really know how this is gonna go, but I do know one thing, that I started this out with the intention of shining a light on people who are doing good work, on having critical conversations that hopefully people lean into, and having some laughs along the way if we can. I'm just one person out here wearing a lot of hats, doing as much as she can to keep this community thriving, to connect people in this community who crave similar kinds of connection, and to be my best self, be my best point on the graph, and connect as many people as I can. So yeah, this is Connecting the Dots with KG. It's gonna be chill, it's gonna be laid back. It might get intense at times, because I do know some intense people. These creatives are really passionate about the things that they do. I met someone the other day who recycles old technology and like strips it down until it's like down to the wire, and then creates art from it. And she does that to kind of explore the fact that a lot of our electronics right now cannot be recycled when they get down to that final state, and just to talk about where does it start, where does that technology start, and where does it eventually end up. And so seeing and learning about artists like that are here in our community lets me know that we have a lot of work to do to create spaces where people like that can come together and discuss and talk. And I just want to be one of those people helping move that along. And so, yeah, I guess tune in, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'm not really sure what platform this will be on, but I do know where you can find me. And that's on Instagram at KGIsAmazing, as well as maybe check out my organization at United for Change on Facebook and Instagram. It's been really awesome, really real. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the future.